losing. We're not headbutting. We're not doing any of that. We're sad. It's been a long day, and we needed more of an effort than that. Welcome into the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I'm trying to do whatever I can to help the team out with this purple monstrosity on my head. I'm joined by Mr. Electric, Shawn and Jesse Friedman, the one and only Vice Mayor of PHNX Thunderstick. He will be here later to join us with some updates from the clubhouse in San Francisco. Of course, as you saw, the Arizona Diamondbacks lose Game 2 by a score of 4-3. A frustrating loss considering that the Diamondbacks were up 3-0. There were quite a few things that you could say were frustrating in this game. We definitely thought everybody was back. We thought the boys were back. We thought the defense was back. Things
Gallen
were looking good
in
this game. We thought Gallen on the road was back. And Gallen was solid until the final out of the 6th inning. And I think scrolling back up in the chat, Elise might have said it best, where Zac Gallen did appear that he was going a little bit more for the strikeouts instead of pitching the soft contact. Felt like so many 3-2 counts, and I kind of agree with her on that. Zac Gallen's line isn't terrible. He didn't have a terrible outing on the road. This isn't one of those days where you would go back and say that this is entirely on Gallen, but he was one out from getting the Diamondbacks out of that jam. He got one out away from the game being scoreless and the Diamondbacks maintaining that 3-run lead. Instead, he does give up the double and then the home run. Zac Gallen goes 6 innings, gives up 7 hits, 3 earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. And it really did feel like this one was a game where everything for a while there was going the Diamondbacks' way until it wasn't. And then it felt like nothing was going their way, right?
I mean, this game felt like a microcosm of the entire season, especially with the way it ended. I mean, shout out Colton Wong. His name came up today. Yeah. Colton Wong got picked off to end a World Series game back when he played for the Cardinals.
That is right.
That's how the end of this game reminded me of. But I mean, yeah, it felt like a microcosm of the whole season. The first half was like everything was going pretty well. Gallen was pitching well on the road. It was a good sign. Then obviously you get Lourdes Gurriel to get a home run, which is. I mean, you get home runs from 2 very unlikely suspects in Lourdes Gurriel and Alek Thomas.
Yeah.
And you think everything is going your way. And then
it felt like it.
All of a sudden, the All-Star break comes / the final third of the 6th inning comes. And all of a sudden, it just every shit hits a fan. And shit gets bad real fast. Now you look at where everything was good. And all of a sudden, you quite literally, you kind of look up. You're like, oh no, the game is tied now. Everything. We're not leading the NL West anymore.
Yeah. There it goes. And Sean's not being overreactionary at all, but he did say that they were back and that it was over at least 6 times. He declared the season dead. He declared them World Series champions. Things bounced around quite a bit around our office during this game.
I can read my series of tweets because
can you please? Let's go to your Twitter account.
Lourdes Gurriel is back. You cannot stop what is coming. Then the boys are back, and then the boys are so effing back. And then I quote tweeted a graphic of the Cubs 20-9 win over the Reds. Eat your heart out, Cincinnati. And said Cubs D-backs NLCS incoming. And then I said the season is over. And then I said it's so over. And then I said I can't believe that just happened. LOL. And then I said it's Jover.
Yeah, not at all overreacting here. We're not all over the place. When it comes to this team right now.
Are you also being toothpick guy right now?
He is being fucking toothpick.
I guess I am. I was.
He had his fucking music in while he was sitting here, like he was listening to music.
Too cool for school, dude.
He is ready to wrap this shit up 5 minutes after we introed the show.
I was eating some illegal peach chips right before the show, which they're delicious, but not a good idea if you got to talk and you don't want stuff in your mouth. So I got the toothpick and I kind of just. Unlike others, I'm not naming names, was locked in when the show was getting started. So I kind of zoned out, kind of forgot that I had the toothpick, and now
not naming names. There's only me and fucking Damon here. Which one of us are you singling out?
Either of those names. First off, they don't know who else is behind the camera. There could be a host of people behind the camera.
I'm out here by myself. I need someone else to blame. I may or may not have taken a nap during that game. I don't know what's going on anymore. Look, I want you
now
guys
I have
to
stick with
sound
the
off.
Toothpick for the record.
Yeah, the toothpick. You're full Scott Hall.
I mean, you're a toothpick guy. Of
Unless
course
you throw
do.
it in my face or Sean's face. That's the only acceptable answer.
Guy now?
You better have one at all times.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a persona
I mean,
you
I
have
do
to live
have
up
toothpicks,
to.
so
Yeah.
remind me for the next one.
Oh, this is not great. I don't like toothpick guys showing up. But here's what I will say is that you guys are free to sound off. We want to hear who you blame for this loss. But I've seen this. I've seen this a lot. Oh, Hazen didn't want to trade for a starting pitcher. Was this starting pitcher going to take Zac Gallen's role in the rotation?
And also,
Can we fucking pump our brakes?
We know
about
for
what
a
we're
fact.
mad about right
I mean,
now?
assuming that we're taking Gambo's word as gospel, which we have no reason not to. We know damn well that they wanted starting pitchers.
They did.
It's not like to say
Right.
that if you're going to say you're blame Hazen, you can't say he didn't try.
Yeah.
If you want to argue that he maybe should have given up the farm for insert pitcher here,
Sure.
then that's a different argument. But you can't say he didn't try.
There's a lot of talk about blaming it on Christian Walker, who's been very cold. Corbin Carroll has also been very cold. You're not wrong about that. Guys go through slumps. It's no surprise that Corbin Carroll is having some sort of slump because this guy has just been incredible. And it's an inevitability sometimes in baseball. It's the reason why it's so hard at times to pick who's going to be the rookie of the year, because these guys that are very good tend to get up to the major league level and struggle until they can adapt. The Diamondbacks have too many guys kind of struggling still to adapt to their roles. They still have some questions about their bullpen, to be honest. I'm not going to say Zac Gallen wasn't responsible because, he was, again, one out, one pitch essentially away from getting out of it scoreless.
That's one of the things where I feel like it hurts a lot more because of the way it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And like if Zac Gallen had given up 3 runs over 6 innings on the road, you would be like, okay, that's not good. You want better from him, but
it's not a disaster
like
we've seen from Zac Gallen on the road.
But the way it happened was disastrous for damn sure.
Miguel Castro did give up the go-ahead run in the following inning. Miguel Castro, who has not. We want to talk about guys that have not been good lately. He has not been good lately. Miguel Castro start the season through June 2nd. This is courtesy of our friend Jack Summers. He through June 2nd, he in 25 and a third innings pitched had a 2.13 ERA, 22 strikeouts, and 1 home run allowed. Since June 2nd, in 19 innings pitched, he has a 6.63 ERA, 14 strikeouts, and 5 home runs allowed. So it feels like Miguel Castro is not really effective out of the bullpen, and of course, that's kind of the key this year. The Diamondbacks bullpen continues to struggle to be able to hold games scoreless. We were talking about it, right? We come in here, these guys are all blaming Zac Gallen, and I lost my shit. At what point does a major league bullpen not get blamed, not be the focal point when they can't hold a single game scoreless? Like, I know they did once. I know yesterday they were pretty good, but 22 out of the last 24 games, they've at least given up 1 earned run or more, and in most cases, it's more. Tonight, it was a critical one that allowed the San Francisco Giants to win.
I mean, at a certain point, this is just like you got to live with reality. Like, you can get mad at the bullpen all you want, but if they're giving up a run every game, they're giving up a run every game.
Do more offense, right? More offense. Hit the ball more.
Yeah,
That's not
you
working.
can't make the base running mistakes that you made. You can't, and I mean, sure, the bullpen going. What do you say? 20 for 21.
It was like 22 out of their last 24. They've given up
like
at least 1 earned run or more.
Like, that's unacceptable. Obviously, I'm not trying to sit here and necessarily excuse the bullpen for being dog shit, but like, I think the reality is that you this is what the team is at this point. You gotta. You gotta deal with that, I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying though, it's one of the things that when you start to look at what's costing the team and where things are, where it's hard for them to, it's a trickle down effect, right? It's hard for them to constantly think about coming back when the deficit continues to get bigger. It's hard for them to come back when they feel the game was tied and they had a chance to win it and the bullpen blows it and gives up the run so that they go ahead. There's just a lot of things there. And again, when we talk about the way that some of the guys are struggling, right? Like Christian Walker, Corbin Carroll, a lot of that is just pressing, right? Just feeling too much pressure, putting too much pressure on yourself in each at bat to go out there and get the job done and not just trying to get a hit, not trying to get the ball in play. It's almost like what we said earlier about Zac Gallen, going out there and worrying so much about the strikeout or trying to, finesse the guys in a way instead of just trying to pitch to contact a bit and get out of the inning. But the offense did make some big mistakes today. Yeah, they had a nice little run there with some solo homers. But as far as, adding to the lead or getting that lead back, they made the two biggest mistakes late in the game. Jace Peterson gets his first hit for the Diamondbacks, gets on base with a leadoff single, and then immediately gets caught stealing in the eighth.
In that situation with no outs, what are we doing? We need the base runner, man.
Yeah,
we need the run.
We just needed to get the run in. And then obviously the biggest mistake is Geraldo Perdomo getting picked off at first there to end the game.
That simply just cannot happen. You can't, and I mean he got backpicked. Like you could have that cannot happen. Rookie catcher, I believe, too.
Yeah,
is that rookie catcher
Patrick Bailey. Yep.
And I mean not like Geraldo Perdomo's a seasoned vet, but still that cannot happen at a major league level. That never happened to me in Little League. That didn't happen to me growing up.
Well, and they pointed out on the broadcast, I mean, it's just his reaction, essentially. It's not like he was far off the base. They got him. They just got him. And, I mean, in this case, you just can't not be paying attention like that. You can't not expect a, catcher to try to get that out.
Yeah.
We saw tonight a game where we had a walk-off balk, and the Mets lose due to a walk-off balk, due to a weird situation where they tried to call time without a timeout left, and they had a problem with the PitchCom system. There's, again, not a lot of people are sad that the Mets lost, and I don't even think the Mets are sad that the Mets lost. But at this point, we don't want to see games lose like this.
Scherzer? The quotes from Scherzer about his conversations with the front office about how they were like, we don't even plan on winning next year. They're like, this is a couple years down the road. Probably maybe 2025, probably 2026 that we're looking to be contenders. And I was like, that's makes sense why you want it out.
That's just absolutely wild to me because that is the type of perspective or outlook I would expect from this franchise, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
It's also
not a team like the Mets that went out and spent as much as they did this past offseason.
It's also it's also what happens when you spend a shit ton of money without really going through that. You skip a bunch of steps, you spend a shit ton of money, and it blows up in your face. You're like, not going to make that mistake again. I guess I got to do this the right way.
If you say skip the steps 3 times, DNVR Nuggets fans will pop up in our podcast feed. So, I mean, that's always a fun thing to say. But
skip the steps.
Don't do it. Stop it. No. Anyway, Scherzer did go scorched earth on the Mets, of course. Nicholas Gruters wants to talk about how bad Carson Kelly is. I don't want to, but you're not. So somebody had a tweet that said basically Carson Kelly's bad at everything right now, and that couldn't be more accurate. Carson Kelly hitting 167 with a 406 OPS. How is he still getting at bats on a major league team? Well, right now, it's due to a lack of catchers. It's due to a lack of bodies. Right now, it's because our Gabby Moreno is injured. Right. If we can get this guy back, hopefully things look better because Moreno. For a guy that wasn't going to be our full-time catcher, was going to share time with Carson Kelly, has pretty much won that job fairly decisively. So I don't know what the Diamondbacks do with Carson Kelly when all of this is said and done because he's
got such a long body, dude. He's so tall and lanky. Every time he stands up from behind the home plate, it makes me uncomfortable.
He's just made a lot of mistakes.
Like long
lately.
torso people should not be allowed to be catchers because then the chest protector when they stand up is just like at like they're like third rib, and it looks like it's meant for a toddler. Yeah.
All right. Well, he's definitely not our king snake of the game, but our king snake of the game is that purple-haired menace himself, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., for hitting his first home run in almost a month. July 7th was the last time Lourdes Gurriel.
I was a different age.
Hit a home run. You were a whole different age? I
was a whole different age.
How old were you when?
I was 24 back then.
24 back when you hit his last home run? So long ago.
I'm so well into year 25 now.
You're so much wiser now since that last home run.
I got a toothpick now.
Yeah, you're a toothpick guy. You got a gimmick, basically.
Yeah, I got a thing at 25.
It looks in this picture like he's praying to the king snake, like he is like
all praise the
all hail the king snake.
Maybe if we prayed to the king snake a little more, we'd have a better offense.
This is the prayer. You got to cross the arms like that?
I don't know, but I will say thank you guys for being here right now on the PHNX YouTube channel. If you are a Diamondbacks fan, you suffered through that, and you somehow want more baseball, God bless you. Thank you for being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. Leave us a thumbs up just to let us know you're an actual human being here watching and not a bot. Also, if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, please subscribe to us there as well. Leave us a review. We always appreciate, the feedback. But Elise is absolutely right. Cattell Homer number 100 was a close runner-up for sure. Cattell continues to be, honestly,
at this point, it's
the spark plug in this team that really doesn't have much else going on offensively.
And not to say that he's as good as Devin Booker was at basketball, but for us, I feel like he's damn near at Devin Booker's status where he's got to do something special to earn it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess home run 100.
Home run 100, special, yeah. We probably fell asleep at the wheel with that one. We were just so happy that Lourdes is back.
I mean, none of us have our hair styled after that of Cattell Marte's, so... Lourdes showing up finally is I probably could.
You definitely could. But
I don't think so. I don't have that much. I don't have this, like, you got to have a certain amount of money to pull off hair like that.
It's fair.
Because you got to have everything that goes with it, and I don't got everything that goes with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of chains involved and stuff. A pretty nice car that does have expired
and,
tags.
like an MLB contract, like being a professional athlete helps.
Yeah, that's true.
I am not that.
The Diamondbacks did win a baseball game yesterday, which we have not really talked about.
You would be like, no, they didn't.
No, they really did. Yes, I know it's hard to believe, but they did win a baseball game yesterday.
24 hours ago.
Part of that is Ryne Nelson was pretty damn good in that baseball game. He went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 1 strikeout. 1 strikeout part doesn't instill a lot of confidence in Ryne Nelson, but I will say Ryne Nelson is part of the starting rotation, and considering that we didn't see the Diamondbacks make a move for a starting pitcher, he will be a part of the starting rotation. Kind of has to be. Him, Tommy Henry, Zach Davies, Brandon Pfaadt, some combination of these guys needs to make up the back end of the starting rotation for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I guess with an outing like he had in Game 1, does it give you confidence about his place in the starting rotation? And considering we know that, yes, he has his bad outings every now and again, but it feels like Ryne Nelson has been able to be at least somewhat stable for this team.
I mean, it's the home road splits, man. It's
wild, right?
Too much for me.
He's so good on the road,
to
and
say
it's
that,
just crazy.
Am I confident in him? It is genuinely a different answer depending on where the game is being played at this point. The sample size is too large. He's bad at home, really good on the road. Yeah. I don't understand it. So if we're on the road, like they were yesterday, obviously, then I'm all in. And I think in general, like you're asking a guy in the back of your lineup to give you very like. I think you've seen performances from Ryne Nelson at the back of the lineup that were better than what you would expect from a back of the lineup pitcher.
Yeah.
At times, and if you can get that basically every time he's not pitching at home, I think you would take that, like, in general, if you're just asking, like, hey, every other game basically he's pitching above average. I think you can live with that. So I mean, again, I'm not trying to flip flop because, like I said before, the trade deadline, I don't think they're necessarily like in a position to. I don't think this rotation is good enough for them to like do damage in the postseason. But in general, like I think Ryne Nelson can be a pretty effective. He's going to be better than Zach Davies.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's discussion in the chat about Austin Adams getting hurt. Austin Adams did take a line drive off of, I believe, his right leg, his calf,
right
ankle, above his ankle. We hope he's all right too, because man, that like the way that he just stopped. Like, just signified to me how much pain he was in.
Yeah, that was like a certain, like, he didn't even swear or nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and I would argue that he is the single toughest man on the face of the planet. I think he's probably tougher than literally anybody else.
Broke something and then just stood there like he did. Just kind of hunched over the way you would.
You saw that man put his arms over other people and hobble off of the field.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, jokes aside, like, yeah, he does seem like a pretty tough fucking dude.
No,
and for him to get rocked
does.
like that and have to come out of the game, it's definitely pretty concerning. I mean, from a baseball perspective, it's Not like he was, our closer or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I get you on that. But I mean,
definitely
the
bullpen is not
Trey
good.
Jameson, Tommy Henry, Zach Davies.
It is tough to see a body go down with this pitching staff, regardless of who it is. So,
the
not too bad.
The Diamondbacks did send down Peter Strzelecki, their new relief pitcher that they just got.
Yeah, see how long that
so
was.
if he does spend time on the IL, they could recall Peter Strzelecki. You also have Carlos Vargas and Justin Martinez, which are all on the current 40-man roster. So those most likely would be the options to go to. And now we know that the trade deadline has come and gone. So we know that, honestly, there's nobody else really coming to save the Arizona Diamondbacks. They could look to the minors. They could look to call someone up. But at this point, it feels like they will not be doing that. Also, Tommy Pham right now is currently technically in the minors as well for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So just an interesting thing in regards to that. As far as roster moves go, Paul Sewald and Jace Peterson were both activated and available tonight. Jace Peterson played. Joe Mantiply was recalled from AAA Reno.
Paul Sewald famously did not play, despite
we wanted it so bad.
We had it.
We wanted to see it so bad. We were. I mean, we might be even at fault for that. We were just hoping.
I mean, we all are.
For our
everybody.
For
Jesse sent us a text about how nice it would be to see it. I said that Gallen was shoving. Yeah. We all bought in. We all messed up, and we have to all take responsibility for that together.
Blaming this guy.
Okay.
Anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. But it's crazy you want to share responsibility with the rest of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, your mayor.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I do.
Who stands for nothing?
That's what politicians do.
He stands for nothing.
They just throw people under the bus for their own careers.
I mean,
unbelievable.
I could talk about how good the bullpen was last night. Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah.
No, do we not care anymore? Hitless in 4 1/3 innings of work. Hitless.
Pretty good.
So I don't know who that bullpen was and this bullpen was, but the only run that scored was the ghost runner after 2 walks and a wild pitch happened. Kevin Ginkel absolutely got robbed on a fucking strike 3 call. This umpire deserves to be arrested and thrown in jail. And I know he's usually the king of hyperbole on these things, but if you take a look at this call, I think you will all agree that this umpire deserves to be found, arrested, and charged with some sort of fraud for this.
Yeah, I didn't see this pitch live. So I looked at my phone and I was like, okay, the app messed up. I thought the app most certainly messed up. But
No, not at all. Ended up costing the Diamondbacks a run and nearly the game, but the Diamondbacks do win that game in extra innings in 11. Offense was fairly non-existent last night as well. Offense continues to be fairly non-existent in this game. They had the dingers, and of course they were nice, but the Diamondbacks just couldn't muster up much, which is becoming a problem, and which is also why Tommy Pham is coming to save the day. And again, very excited to finally be joined by the one and only Jesse Friedman to talk about Tommy Pham joining this team and maybe giving some sort of jolt of to the offense. Did Jesse go away? Where's Jesse? Let's bring Jesse. Welcome, sir.
There I am.
This one was a bit heartbreaking tonight, my friend.
Yeah, tough to see it end the way that it did, right? Geraldo Perdomo getting picked off of first base. That's no way for a playoff team to be ending a game. And Patrick Bailey, the San Francisco Giants catcher, I don't know if he's the second coming of Buster Posey, but the man has an arm. And the Diamondbacks tested it probably way too much in this game. He threw out 2 attempted base stealers. And then, of course, he got Geraldo Perdomo there. I'm sure you guys have already talked about it. But Torrey coming out and saying, can't happen times infinity, talking about that play. That's a fairly strong statement. And obviously he's right. I mean, that's something that you just can't have happen at this level. And, even if Perdomo doesn't get picked off first, who's to say what happens from there? But the optics were very poor on that play.
Yeah. I mean, it's the classic. You can't let a game end on that, right? Like
on the base paths.
That's the base path thing just can't happen. And of course, the other thing that the broadcast pointed out was it wasn't even like Perdomo was really caught trying to take a few extra feet or had a big lead or something. It just felt like it was his reaction. It was a great play by Patrick Bailey, and it was a really shitty way to lose a baseball game when it felt like they at least had a chance. Now, Christian Walker, we all know, has not been very good as of late, but I think we all would have loved to see Christian Walker at least make that final out instead of Perdomo, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this has kind of been a running trend for the Diamondbacks for a while, where they're just making these uncharacteristic mistakes, or mistakes at least that we thought were uncharacteristic. Now they've become so commonplace in the last few weeks that I don't know if you can really even still say that this is uncharacteristic. Like, this is kind of the team the Diamondbacks have been for a while, where they just have made a lot of mistakes on the base paths, and we saw that again today. Ultimately, again, I don't know if the game necessarily came down to that, but the Diamondbacks are I don't think they're quite at the point of, being able to be so much better than opposing teams where, they can afford to make those little mistakes. They've been a team when they were good, where they had to do all of those little things right in order to, stay in the position that they were in. And we just haven't seen that version of this team in a while.
One thing we can say isn't to blame tonight is the Diamondbacks not hitting with runners in scoring position, because they didn't have any runners in scoring position in this game, Jesse. And again, we talked about the offense and, needing some sort of injection of life. Tommy Pham has been added to this roster and gives the Diamondbacks an option for a right-handed bat, as well as just some versatility for Torey Lovullo to go to. So what are your thoughts about what Tommy Pham brings to this team, and could they maybe have needed him and used him a little bit tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you never know what happens in this game if Tommy Pham is in the lineup, I guess. I think it's a pretty big acquisition for the Diamondbacks. This offense has really needed a jolt for a while, and I know we tweeted out his baseball savant page earlier.
We got it right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of red. There's a lot of red on this thing for Tommy Pham. So his average exit velo, I believe, is up over 93 miles an hour, which I think is far and away the highest of any Diamondbacks player now with him in the fold. That's not Tommy Pham's.
That's Lourdes's.
Oh, there's
Lourdes.
Tommy Pham. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's why I wanted Lourdes's in here, because when you compare it to Lourdes Gurriel's, one of them looks a lot prettier than the other.
Let's do a little back and forth there, Damon. Can we go a little back and forth between those two? I mean, my goodness. Things aren't great for Lourdes, but things are pretty good for Tommy Pham. And I mean, as far as a step up, that definitely seems like a step up for them as far as a right-handed corner outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, and even when Lourdes was at his best earlier in the year, I don't know if you ever saw this much red on his baseball savant page. So it's really impressive. I mean, Tommy Pham is 35 years old, and from everything I've heard, an outstanding clubhouse presence, a really hard worker, the kind of guy that I think others will gravitate towards. So, a huge addition for the Diamondbacks theoretically. And I don't think he's necessarily just a platoon guy. I think there's a good chance you see him in there pretty regularly against righties as well.
He's putting up some of his best offensive numbers since 2019, and that was on a Mets team that wasn't really doing very much. And honestly, a Mets team that wasn't relying on Tommy Pham to be a big offensive presence, at least in theory, based on the roster that they had. But he was honestly one of their better offensive players. So I feel like, even though a lot of Diamondbacks fans are kind of discounting this move, that Tommy Pham really could be a difference maker for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it's all said and done, Paul Sewald is great, but as you saw tonight, a closer is only great if you can get to him, if you actually have a lead for him to protect in the ninth inning. And hopefully the Diamondbacks are still able to find those situations down the stretch. But for a guy like Tommy Pham, he has an opportunity to have an impact on this team day in and day out. I expect him to play pretty regularly, as I said before. So who knows? Maybe Tommy Pham is actually the biggest move that the Diamondbacks made at this trade deadline when it's all said and done.
I mean, you said that like you don't really know if Tommy Pham would have made a difference, but let's be honest. Jock Peterson might not have even opted to show up to the baseball stadium if Tommy Pham was in the lineup tonight, Jesse. Fantasy football season is right around the corner. He doesn't want any of that smoke. So I'm just saying, you never know how these trades can ultimately impact baseball games.
Hey,
but
we got a fantasy league coming. I'll go Tommy Pham on somebody if I have to.
Yeah, we're playing Jesse this year. Jesse's in the league, and I can't wait.
Go.
I can't wait to slap the shit out of Jesse once something goes wrong in this fantasy league. But
I know nothing about football, so
it's such a lie. It's such a lie.
I'm gonna be. I don't know much. I have not. The Cardinals have been so miserably terrible in the last couple of years that I have like hardcore disengaged. So I'm going to be heavily relying on the PHNX D-backs Discord in order to help me out. I feel like
hey, no. Fuck out of here. Not without a fight, you're not. Because we'll see who's loyal to who. Because I'm in this league as well. I'm not letting you use our Discord to your advantage.
Anyway, I'm sure the clubhouse mood wasn't great tonight, but you got a chance to talk to Paul Sewald and Jace Peterson and things before the game. What was the mood with those guys? How did they feel about joining this team? And what were your thoughts on meeting the newest members of the team?
Paul Sewald is a great interview. The kind of guy that I think fans will really, really, really like. We posted a clip of him on social media where I asked him during that interview, what is it about your fastball that allows it to play so well up in the strike zone? It only averages 92 miles an hour. And so he talked about, how he's made some adjustments in the last few years that have led to that. And he basically talked about how one of his favorite things is to blow a 90 or 91 mile an hour fastball by guys and just have them look up at the scoreboard and be wondering what the heck just happened. And that's kind of what he's done. It's not rocket science with Sewald. He's throwing this fastball up in the zone over and over and over again, and he's throwing his slider sweeper pitch down in the zone. Guys know what's coming, and they just can't hit it anyway. And that's kind of exactly what you're looking for in a closer, is pitches that are just so good that hitters just have no answer for them, even if they know exactly what's coming. And I think Paul Sewald is going to be that guy. And just getting to meet him for the first time, just very, very friendly. And like I said earlier, a guy I think fans are really going to enjoy.
Are we being overly critical about the importance of this series? I know we sent you out there to San Francisco, so that kind of immediately shows our hand a bit, but this feels like this series, especially after tonight's loss, really can be kind of the final tipping point. We've talked about other kind of measurements and things along the way, but this one feels very, very critical for this team.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be like overly dramatic. I mean, you still have 2 months of baseball left to play, but it is really important. I mean, the Diamondbacks have been, as we've been talking about, kind of in a free fall here for about a month, just not at all playing nearly as well as we saw in the first couple months of the season. And if they continue to play like they have over the last month for another week or two, you're talking about a team that's sort of well outside of the wild card picture at that point. So I don't want to make it sound like, the D-backs have to win this series or have to split this series or the season is over or anything like that. But the way this team is trending, I think it's really important that they get some momentum back, and got a little bit of it yesterday, but then gave some of that back today.
In those 2 months, I feel like I can count on one hand the series that I feel more confident about outside of the upcoming series with the Twins, 2 series with the Rockies, a series against the Mets, and a series against the White Sox.
You say that when we got swept by the Mets.
I am saying, that if I'm being honest, outside of those series, everybody else is a contender. Everybody else is a good team. You got the Cubs playing absolutely out of their minds coming in the final month. You got the Astros, where the Diamondbacks wrap up their season against. You got the Orioles coming to town. You have 2 more series with the Dodgers. You have to play the Reds. You have to play the Rangers. You have to play the top Padres twice. There are a lot of tough series coming up, and I don't want to, start panicking about, any of this. But again, this series feels like the beginning of just kind of, a gauntlet that they have to run here of playing very, very good teams. What we've seen so far this season is that they have not been very good against very good teams. So that's the thing that that doesn't give me a lot of confidence going forward.
That was the narrative early in the season, right? The D-backs were just kind of running over the Rockies and the Tigers and the Royals and, feeling pretty good about themselves, and rightfully so. I mean, they were taking care of business against some of the not as good teams around the league. That's what you're supposed to do. But they didn't really prove themselves against the better teams in the league early in the season. I know they started off pretty well against the Dodgers and the Padres in that first couple weeks of the year, but outside of that, they didn't really demonstrate much against some of the better teams in the league, while they were so hot over the first few months of the year. And you're right, like looking forward, this schedule, it feels kind of ridiculous. It's not that all of these teams are, in the World Series, they're not World Series favorites necessarily. They're not top 2 or 3 teams in the league, but a lot of these teams, pretty much all of them are in the mix for the playoffs. They're significantly better teams than the kinds of teams that the Diamondbacks were beating early in the season. And I think that's a big takeaway from this year. Like, there is a huge gap between playing the Tigers or the Royals and playing even teams just like the Giants, who aren't that great. They are flawed in their own ways, but the Giants are just a way better team than, who the D-backs were beating up on earlier in the year.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, Jesse, we will be back tomorrow with another post-game show. So Jesse will be joining us. In the meantime, make sure to follow Jesse on Twitter at Jesse N. Friedman. That's Friedman. And you can keep up to date on everything going on with the Diamondbacks. Of course, more from the clubhouse and everything else. Jesse, good luck with the Seagulls out there. Make sure to eat plenty of good food. Like at least one lobster.
Don't miss your
roll,
flight
pal.
tomorrow.
Don't miss your flight.
Or Thursday?
No, it's Thursday.
Don't miss your flight Thursday.
Don't miss your flight
Thursday.
Thursday.
I'll remind you not to miss your flight tomorrow.
Remember, flying home over baseball. I know you'd rather choose the other way, but we want you home over staying until the end of the baseball game.
I mean, honestly, you guys sort of control that, because the last thing I'm going to do on Thursday before catching my flight is hopping on our post-game show. So, if I miss my flight,
you better not miss your damn flight for our show.
Yeah,
we can take care of it. Well, then Dick Mountain has been traded. There's no jokes to be made.
I mean, we can make plenty of Dick Mountain jokes without you here, so that would be fine as well. But Jesse, take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you guys.
Well, that's all we got for today. We're all baseballed out for this day, and we will go forward. Of course, hopefully we get to see Paul Sewald tomorrow's game make his first close for the Arizona Diamondbacks, because we need to see him throw a baseball. In the meantime, you can also follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_caveman with a K. This absolute maniac next to me is at Shawn_DePaz. The maniac behind the Mac. He is Damon, and he is at Damon Dog with the DAWG. Of course, we are Damon's dogs. Make sure to follow us at PHNX D-backs. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for being Arizona Diamondbacks fans and being with us here tonight, except that one Giants fan in the comments.
No, but okay, real quick, I respect it though, saying Patrick Bailey is better than anyone on the D-backs not named Corbin Carroll. Like, at least you recognize that Corbin Carroll is different.
But
at least you recognize that.
Whatever.
I mean, you're still wrong, but at least you recognize Corbin's different.
Whatever. But it's only because our other Dodger troll isn't here tonight, so we appreciate you being here too, I guess. But we appreciate you guys always being here. On behalf of this crew, we thank you for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you don't end the game getting picked off at first fucking base.